Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, November 14th, 2022. Today we're going to recap Week 10 of the NFL from yesterday. Look ahead to tonight's Monday Night Football game. College football Week 11 from the weekend. College basketball, NBA, NHL. I'll give out my picks for who's going to win the MLB Rookies of the Year because that's getting announced tonight. Dancing with the Stars, we forgot to talk about it last week, so we'll catch up with that. News and notes and best bet. We'll start with the NFL. We'll go over the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's Monday night game. Bucks over the Seahawks 21-16. Vikings over the Bills in a classic 33-30 in overtime. Lions over the Bears 31-30. Titans over the Broncos 17-10. Chiefs over the Jags 27-17. Dolphins over the Browns 39-17. Giants over the Texans 24-16. Steelers over the Saints 20-10. Colts over the Raiders 25-20. Packers over the Cowboys 31-28 in overtime on a game-winning kick by Mason Crosby. Cardinals over the Rams 27-17 with the backup quarterbacks. And the 49ers over the Chargers 22-16. All right, tonight, 8:15, ESPN, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. It's the Eagles hosting the Commanders from D.C. The Commanders are still missing a lot of key guys. Carson Wentz, Jahan Dotson, Chase Roulier. I'm going to check real quick if Chase Young is back tonight or not. At the moment, he was questionable, and he's still questionable. So there's a possibility that the Commanders get a boost tonight. My projection here is Eagles 16.5 total of 42, and it is actually Philly by 10.5 total of 43.5. I'm going to lay with the Eagles even if Young's back. I just think the Eagles are on another level right now. They tend to dominate at home games. This is their second Monday night game of the year. So I'm going to lay the points here with the Philadelphia Eagles against the Commanders. All right, now move on to college football. We'll go over the results from the weekend. All right, Friday, Cincinnati over East Carolina, 27-25. Number 8, USC over Colorado, 55-17. Fresno State over UNLV, 37-30. And Saturday, number 2, Ohio State over Indiana, 56-14. Number 5, Tennessee over Missouri, 66-24. Number 7, LSU over Arkansas, 13-10. Number 20, Notre Dame over Navy, 35-32. Purdue over number 21, Illinois, 31-24. Vandy over number 24, Kentucky, 24-21. West Virginia over Oklahoma, 23-20. UConn over Liberty, 36-33. Michigan State over Rutgers, 27-21. Duke over Virginia Tech, 24-7. Pitt over Virginia, 37-7. SMU over South Florida, 41-23. UM Monroe over Georgia State, 31-28. James Madison over Old Dominion, 37-3. New Mexico State over Lamar, 51-14. Western Kentucky over Rice, 45-10. Arkansas State over UMass, 35-33. Houston over Temple, 43-36. Number 3, Michigan over Nebraska, 34-3. Number 9, Alabama over number 11, Ole Miss, 30-24. Number 10, Clemson over Louisville, 31-16. Number 14, Penn State over Maryland, 30-0. Wow. Boston College upsets number 16, NC State, 21-20. Number 22, UCF over 17, Tulane, 38-31. Washington State over Arizona State, 28-18. Oklahoma State over Iowa State, 20-14. Troy over Army, 10-9. Iowa over Wisconsin, 24-10. Minnesota over Northwestern, 31-3. Miami over Georgia Tech, 35-14. Air Force over New Mexico, 35-3. Marshall over Appalachian State, 28-21. Middle Tennessee over Charlotte, 24-14. UTSA over Louisiana Tech, 51-7. UAB over North Texas, 41-21. Florida over South Carolina, 38-6. South Alabama over Texas State, 38-21. Number 1, Georgia over Mississippi State, 45-19. Number 25, Washington over number 6, Oregon, 37-34. Number 19, Kansas State over Baylor, 31-3. Texas Tech over Kansas, 43-28. Wyoming over Colorado State, 14-13. FAU over FIU, 52-7. Number 4, TCU over number 8, Texas, 17-10. Number 15, number 15, North Carolina over Wake, 36-34. Auburn over Texas A&M, 13-10. Coastal Carolina over Southern Miss, 26-23. Number 23, Florida State over Syracuse, 38-3. Oregon State over Cal, 38-10. Number 13, Utah over Stanford 42-7. Arizona upsets number 12, UCLA 34-28. Boise State over Nevada 41-3. San Diego State over San Jose State 43-27. And Utah State over Hawaii 41-34. All right, now we're going to go to college basketball from the weekend and go over those results and look ahead to the games being played today. And I apologize in advance because I didn't do every line for tonight. Friday, New Hampshire over Fairfield 83-71. Boston College over Detroit 70-66. Jacksonville over Johnson, Florida 85-34. UC Santa Barbara over Fresno State 61-54. Air Force over Delaware 75-71. Toledo over UAB 93-85. Mercer over Milligan 118-64. Number 3, Houston over St. Joe's 81-55. George Washington over Howard 85-75. Louisiana over Harvard 75-61. In the Asheville Championship, UConn over BC 86-57. Or I should say BU. Armed Forces Classic. Number 2, Gonzaga over Michigan State 64-63. Number 7, Duke over SC Upstate 84-38. Stony Brook over Miami Hamilton 86-65. Central Arkansas over Hendrix 107-56. Number 1, North Carolina over Charleston 102-86. Number 4, Kentucky over Duquesne 77-52. Temple upsets number 16, Villanova 68-64. Number 24, Dayton over SMU 74-62. Bowling Green over Oakland 87-82. UNC Wilmington over Allen University 104-55. Hofstra over Iona 83-78. Maine over Fort Kentucky 90-45. Coastal Carolina over Methodist 110-47. Drexel over Old Dominion 71-59. Coppin State over Mount St. Mary 83-78. Tulane over McNeese 75-58. Richmond over Northern Iowa 68-55. George Mason over Longwood 83-69. Bryan over Dartmouth 89-70. Furman over Belmont 89-74. Utah over Bakersfield 72-44. Purdue over Austin Peay 63-44. Minnesota over St. Fran Brooklyn 72-64. Or 72-54, I should say. Kansas State over Cal 63-54. Southern Miss over Vanderbilt 60-48. Ole Miss over FAU 80-67. Florida over Kennesaw State 88-78. West Virginia over Pitt 81-56. NC State over Campbell 73-67. Miami over Greensboro. UNC Greensboro, I should say. 79-65. UCF over Florida State 68-54. South Carolina over Clemson 60-58. Wisconsin over Stanford 60-50. Mississippi State over Akron 73-54. Number 5, Baylor over Norfolk State 87-70. Number 10, Arkansas over Fordham 74-48. Number 14, TCU over Lamar 77-66. Number 15, Auburn over South Florida 67-59. Number 20, Alabama over Liberty 95-59. Northern Colorado over A&M Commerce 80-77. Oral Roberts over John Brown 95-62. St. Thomas, Minnesota over Chicago State 83-61. Loyola Chicago over UIC 70-63. A&M Corpus Christi over UTSA 75-55. Xavier over Montana 86-64. Grambling over Colorado 83-74. Northwestern over Northern Illinois 63-46. Iowa over NC A&T 112-71. Oklahoma over Arkansas Pine Bluff 66-58. A&M over Abilene Christian 77-58. Missouri over Penn 92-85. Navy over Princeton 74-73. East Tennessee State over Elan 77-64 in the Asheville Championship. Wake over Georgia 81-71. Number 17, Arizona over Southern 95-78. Number 18, Virginia over Monmouth 89-42. Number 22, Michigan over Eastern Michigan 88-83. Number 23, Illinois over Kansas City 86-48. Oregon State over Florida A&M 60-43. Utah State over Bradley 84-62. New Mexico over South Alabama 80-74. Yale over Eastern Washington 74-60 in the Rainbow Classic. Colorado State over Southeast Louisiana 80-69. Cal Baptist over NJIT 59-43. Fullerton over Pepperdine 74-71. Portland over Portland State 98-91. DePaul over Western Illinois 86-74. In the Bahamas Championship Game Classic campus game. Number 19, San Diego State over BYU 82-75. Number 8, UCLA over Long Beach State 93-69. UC Irvine upsets number 21, Oregon 69-56. Washington over North Florida 75-67. In Hawaii over Mississippi Valley State 72-54. Okay, now the Saturday results. New Hampshire over Fairfield 83-71. BC over Detroit 70-66. Jacksonville over Oh, wait, no, that was Friday. Just didn't switch on me. Here we go. Georgetown over Green Bay, 92-58. Tennessee State over SC State, 80-61. Seton Hall over St. Peter's, 80-44. Miami of Ohio over Goshen, 87-44. Purdue Fort Wayne over SAU Edwardsville, 81-76. Stonehill over Army, 82-77. James Madison over Buffalo, 97-62. Ohio over Cleveland State, 81-70. Wright State over Louisville, 73-72. Northern Kentucky over Cincy Claremont, 89-49. Indiana State over Ball State, 83-71. Rutgers over UMass Lowell, 73-65. Stanford over Belhaven, 90-38. Tulsa over Jackson State, 85-79. UNC Asheville over Brevard, 94-46. UT Martin over Champion Christian, 125-65. LaSalle over Wagner, 77-69. San Jose State over Bethesda, 90-68. Rider over College of New Jersey, 87-50. Maryland Eastern over Bernathen, 90-43. Bucknell over Niagara, 68-50. Alcorn State over Wichita State, 66-57. Winthrop over Middle Tennessee, 76-68. High Point over Wofford, 91-80. East Carolina over Presbyterian, 77-57. Utah Valley over Northern Arizona, 73-69. Texas State over Rhode Island, 70-66. Nevada over Grand Canyon, 59-46. Southeast Missouri State over Lyon College, 83-46. New Orleans over St. Fran, Illinois, 65-63. Lipscomb over CU Harrodsburg, 107-54. South Dakota over Dakota State, 82-64. UNLV over Incarnate Word, 88-63. LSU over Arkansas State, 61-52. St. John's over Lafayette, 83-68. St. Fran, PA over Hartford, 77-53. Milwaukee over Cardstritch, 112-38. Boise over Washington State, 71-61. Western Kentucky over Kentucky State, 127-61. Binghamton over Marist, 78-75. Georgia Southern over Trinity Baptist, 53-32. VCU over Morgan State, 69-54. Canisius over St. Bonaventure, 84-80 in overtime. St. Louis over Evansville, 83-65. Dartmouth over MCLA, 107-52. Georgia Tech over Georgia State, 59-57. Siena over Albany, 75-62. Murray State over Lindsey Wilson, 90-53. Hampton over Region, 89-60. Illinois State over Northwestern State, 69-67. Texas Rio Grande over Southwest Adventist, 115-33. Moorhead State over Bellarmine, 62-55. Providence over Northeastern, 89-65. Texas Arlington over Southwestern Texas, 103-67. Southern Utah over St. Catherine, 91-48. Utah Tech over Cal State Northridge, 69-63. UTEP over New Mexico State, 67-64. Loyola Marymount over UC Davis, 85-75. And Sacramento State over UC San Diego, 65-55. All right, now the Sunday results. Howard over Gallaudet, 108-56. Cincinnati over Eastern Kentucky, 87-69. Sacred Heart over Columbia, 88-85. Quinnipiac over Central Con, 72-70. Iowa State over NCAT, 80-43. Colorado over number 11 Tennessee, 78-66. Central Michigan over Eastern Illinois, 76-60. Colgate over Wells College, 93-60. Pacific over North Dakota State, 91-86. Harvard over Elan, 92-77 in the Asheville Championship. Davidson over VMI, 75-71. Miss Valley State over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 80-47. Oklahoma State over Oakland, 91-62. Longwood over Pfeiffer, 168. St. Thomas, Minnesota over St. Fran Brooklyn, 84-48. Omaha over Idaho, 79-72. Texas Southern over Arizona State, 67-66 in overtime. Lehigh over Mr. Crotia, 97-58. Southern Indiana over Southern Illinois, 71-53. Western Carolina over Brescia, 112-45. Southeast Louisiana over Wyoming, 76-72. George Mason over American, 73-56. Towson over Penn, 80-74. Notre Dame over Youngstown State, 88-81. Asheville Championship, Louisiana over East Tennessee State, 81-77. San Fran over UC Merced, 88-71. Valpo over Western Michigan, 81-65. San Diego over NJIT, 74-64. Pepperdine over Alabama State, 91-62. Fairleigh Dickinson over Manhattan, 77-74. Loyola Maryland over Brown, 75-70. Seattle over Portland State, 83-71. Florida Gulf Coast over Ave Maria, 105-61. Missouri over Linden, 82-43. Virginia Tech over William & Mary, 94-77. Montana State over Long Beach State, 70-57. Rainbow Classic Yale over Miss Valley State, 80-51. Fullerton over Vermont, 94-85 in double overtime. St. Mary's over North Texas, 63-53. Or 63-33, oh my God. And Rainbow Classic Hawaii over Eastern Washington, 71-51. All right, now looking ahead to tonight's games. A pretty big slate, to say the least. First up, 6 o'clock, you have Princeton and UMBC. I project UMBC by 3. It's Princeton by 5.5. Give me UMBC getting all the points. I think they're going to win. Mount St. Vincent, Long Island, CU Harrisburg, Bellarmine, Maine, BC. My projection's BC 32.5. And it is 20.5. I'm going to leave the points at BC. Fox Sports 263, Delaware State at number 16, Villanova. Villanova's favored by 53, and it's 35.5. I'll leave the points. 7 o'clock, Blue Mountain, North Alabama, we can skip. Bruton, Parker, Kennesaw State, we can skip. CBS Sports Network, SC State into Kane. I have the Kane 41.5, and it is the Kane by 20.5. I'll leave the points. Manchester, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Newman, Wagner, Johnson, Wales, BU, Florida National, Bethune-Cookman, Tennessee Tech, Marshall. My line is Marshall 13.5, and it's 16. I'll take Tech in the points. Bridgewater College, Virginia, Radford, we could skip. Cornell, St. Fran, PA. I have Cornell by 2, and it's Cornell by 4. Give me St. Fran in the points. Virginia, Wesleyan, Old Dominion, Portland, Kent State. We skipped Union, Albany, but that has to be mentioned. My line's Kent by 1.5, and it's 4.5. I'll take Portland getting the points. Stetson in South Florida. My line's 6.5, and it's 7. The total in this game is 131.5. Actually, FanDuel has it at 8.5 and 131.5, so I'll take Stetson getting the points. Western Illinois and UCF. UCF's giving 14.5. I have 26.5. I'll leave the points. Navy and Coppin State. I have Navy 12.5. And Navy is giving only 2.5. I'll leave the points at Navy. Lafayette, St. Joe's. I have St. Joe's by a whopping 30. And it's only 10.5. I'll leave the points. Richmond, Charleston. I have Richmond 12. And it's actually Charleston by 2.5. Give me Richmond plus the 2.5 and plus 125 outright. George Washington, Hofstra. I have Hofstra by 1. And it is Hofstra 7.5. Give me George Washington getting the 7.5. They're plus 265 to win the game outright. Maryland, Eastern Shore, and Charlotte. Charlotte by 29 is my number, and they're giving 12.5. I'll leave the points. NC Central and Liberty, my number is 25 for Liberty, and it's 11.5. I'll leave the points. Miami of Ohio and Georgia. My number is 23.5 for Georgia, and it's 12.5. I'll leave the points. FAU and Florida. Florida, I have projected 17.5. And it's 13.5. I'll leave the points. Troy and Florida State. And by the way, FAU Florida is on the SEC Network. Troy, Florida State. My line is 30, and Florida State's only giving 10.5. I'll leave the points. DePaul, Minnesota, Big Ten Network. I have Minnesota by 2. And it's DePaul 1.5. Give me Minnesota plus the 1.5 and plus 102 outright. We can skip Latorno, Sam Houston, Central Baptist, Yale Monroe, St. Fran, Illinois, and Texas Rio Grande. 8 o'clock, Cougar Classic, Oral Roberts, number 3, Houston. Houston, I have projected by a whopping 35, and it is 19.5. I'll leave the points. This is the last line I did. Northern Colorado, number 5, Baylor. I have Baylor projected 34, and it's 27.5. I'll leave the points. Northwestern State, number 14, TCU. TCU's giving 23.5. I'll leave the points. Northern Iowa and number 18, Virginia on the ACC Network. Virginia is favored by 15.5. I'll leave the points. Louisiana Tech and number 25, Texas Tech. Texas Tech's giving 12.5. I'll leave the points there. We can skip Milligan, Austin P. Jackson State, UIC. Jackson State is giving 2.5. Or Jacksonville State. I'll lay the points at Jacksonville State. We can skip Purdue, Northwest, Northern Illinois. IUPUI, Chicago State. Oof, this is a garbage game. Chicago State's giving 6.5. Give you IUPUI getting the points. Wofford, Drake. Drake's giving 11.5. That's a tough one. I'll take Wofford getting the points just to hang around. Trinity, University, Texas, A&M, Corpus Christi, you can skip. Houston, Tilson, Lamar, skip. Champion Christian College, Houston Christian, Calvary, Kansas State, Lyon College, Arkansas State, Loyola, New Orleans, Southern Miss, St. Mary's, Texas, UTSA. Belmont, Lipscomb. Lipscomb is a 2.5-point underdog. The Belmont. I'll take Lipscomb getting the points, and they're plus 128 to win. Little Rock and Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas is giving 2.5. I'll lay the points gladly. Idaho State and Utah. Utah's giving 22.5. I'll lay the points. Butler and Penn State on Fox Sports 1 and 8:30. Penn State's giving 5.5. I'll take Butler and the points to hang around. 9 o'clock, Holy Cross and number 9 Creighton on CBS Sports Network. Creighton is giving 29.5. I'll lay the points. Monmouth and number 23 Illinois on the Big Ten Network. Illinois is giving 26.5. I'll lay the points. Alabama A&M and Tennessee State. Tennessee State's giving 9.5. I don't like it, but I'll lay the points. Sac State, Denver. Denver's giving 3.5. I'll lay the 3.5 at Denver. Don't feel good about it. Bethesda, Southern Utah, skip. Santa Clara and Utah State. Utah State's giving 7.5. I'll lay it. I don't feel good about it. Weber State and Colorado State. Colorado State's giving 8.5. I'll take Weber and the points to hang around. A&M Commerce and Air Force. Air Force is giving 9.5. I'll lay the points. Norfolk State at number 8. UCLA at 10 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. UCLA is giving 20.5. I'll lay the points. Utah Tech, Washington. Washington's giving 16. I'll lay the points. And then at midnight, you have Yale, Hawaii, and the Rainbow. Hawaii is giving 4. Give me Yale getting the 4 points. And we skipped a game, Miss Valley State and Eastern Washington. Eastern's giving 18.5. Giving Miss Valley State in the points. That's way too many points. All right, now move on to the NBA. We'll go over the weekend's games and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday, Celtics over Nuggets 131-112. Magic over the Suns 114-97. Knicks over the Pistons 121-112. Thunder over the Raptors 132-113. Spurs over the Bucks 111-93. Grizz over the Timberwolves 114-103. Warriors over the Cavs 106-101. And the Kings over the Lakers 120-114. Saturday, Nets over the Clippers 110-95. Wizards over the Jazz 121-112. Celtics over the Pistons 117-108. Pacers over the Raptors 118-104. Sixers over the Hawks 121-109. Heat over the Hornets 132-115. Mavs over the Blazers 117-112. And the Pelicans over the Rockets 119-106. Sunday, Thunder over the Knicks 145-135. Wolves over the Cavs 129-124. Wiz over the Grizz 102-92. Sixers over the Jazz 105-98. And Joel Embiid put up a monstrous 59 points. Nuggets over the Bulls 126-103. Kings over the Warriors 112-115. And the Lakers over the Nets 116-103. All right, 7 games tonight, 7 o'clock. You have the Pistons against the Raptors from Toronto. These lines and totals I did. Raptors are giving 5.5 totals to 21. Give me the Pistons getting the points. Raptors are missing Fred VanVleet and Siakam, but Cade's out too. But I'll still take the Pistons getting the points. That's a lot. Hornets, Magic. And by the way, I project Raps to total 223 and 1920. It's Hornets, Magic. Orlando's giving 1.5 totals to 24. I'll lay to 1.5 with Orlando. Despite the injuries, I have 6.5 and 223 in the 10th. 7:30 NBA TV, Thunder, Celtics. The Celtics are giving a whopping 23 total, 232 and 320, and it's 12 and 228.5. I'll lay the 12 at Boston. Suns, Heat. The Heat are giving 2 totals, 215. I project Suns by half total, 219 and 320. I'll take the over. 8 o'clock, Clippers, Rockets. Clippers giving 5.5 totals, 220. I have 13 and 219 and 2 fifths. I'll lay the points. Hawks, Bucks. Bucks giving 4 totals, 225.5. I have 8 and 223 and a quarter. So I'll lay the 4 with the Bucks. And 10 o'clock, you have the Spurs and the Warriors. I have Warriors 19 total, 233 and 17.20. And it's 7.5 and 232.5. So I'm going to lay a 7.5 with Golden State. All right, now I'll move on to hockey. We'll go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday, Leafs lose to the Penguins at home 4-2. Caps over the Lightning 5-1. Sharks over the Stars 5-4. And Wild over the Kraken 1-0. Saturday, Sens over the Flyers 4-1. Oilers over the Panthers 4-2. Bruins over the Sabres 3-1. Habs over the Penguins 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Mike Hoffman. Devils over the Coyotes 4-2. Leafs over the Canucks 3-2. Isles over the Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Zach Parise. Preds over the Rangers 2-1. Abs over the Canes 4-1. Blackhawks over the Ducks 3-2. Flames over the Jets 3-2. Blues over the Golden Knights 3-2. And the Kings over the Red Wings 4-3. Sunday, Stars over the Flyers 5-1. Bruins over the Canucks 5-2. Sharks over the Wild 3-2 in a shootout. Rangers over the Coyotes 4-1. Lightning over the Caps 6-3. And the Jets over the Kraken 3-2 in OT on a game winner by Mark Sheffley. All right, only 4 games today. 5:30. Such an odd start time in Ottawa between the Islanders and the Sens. Isles are minus 125. The Sens are plus 104 over under 6.5. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 128. Isles minus 1.5 is plus 194. Sens plus 1.5 is minus 245. I'm going to go with the Islanders in regulation at plus 126. They're just better than Ottawa. 8:30 Kings Flames from Calgary. Calgary minus 154. Kings plus 128. Over under 6. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 108. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 194. Calgary minus 1.5 is plus 154. I'm going to take the over. Hurricanes, Blackhawks. Canes minus 240. Blackhawks plus 195. Over under 6. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 112. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 138. I'm going to go with the big dog tonight in the Blackhawks at plus 195 to knock off Carolina at home. And at 9 o'clock, you have the Blues and the Avs. Avs minus 196, Blues plus 162 over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 148. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 120. This is another total I like. I'm going to go with the under in this game. All right, now I'm going to do MLB Rookie of the Year picks. They're announcing that award tonight on the MLB Network. So we'll look at the finalists really quickly. It's an interesting race. I think that here we go. This is a good group of players. So the National League, we have Brendan Donovan, Michael Harris II, and Spencer Strider. In the American League, Stephen Kwan, Julio Rodriguez, and Adley Rutschman. So in the National League, I think the winner is going to be Michael Harris II. Actually, I think he had a larger impact on the Braves than Strider did. And then Strider was very good for him. He had a big impact, but Harris played every day in center field. And really put together a nice rookie season. So I'm going to go Michael Harris the second first, Spencer Strider second, and Brendan Donovan third from the Cards. The American League, I think, was the better class of the two from a talent standpoint. I think the winner of this award is going to be Julio Rodriguez, and I would not be shocked if it's unanimous. He was clearly the best rookie in the American League this year. Coming in second, this is a tough one. I think Adley Rutschman is going to be a by far better pro than Stephen Kwan, but I don't think that's how it's going to play out. I'm going to say Stephen Kwan comes in second, helping carry the Guardians to a division crown. Just an on-base machine he was, like getting hit, and always would move the line. And then third, I'm going to go with Adley Rutschman. Although Rutschman, like I said, is going to be a better pro than Kwan, but he'll come in third in this Rookie of the Year race, helping carry the Orioles back to respectability. So the American League, we go Julio Rodriguez, Stephen Kwan, and Adley Rutschman. The National League, Michael Harris II, Spencer Strider, and Brendan Donovan. All right, now I'm going to go over the results from the Houston Classic. We forgot to mention that in the open of the show. And winning the tournament with a score of 18 under, who was my pick to win the tournament, Tony Finau. Coming in second with 12 under, Tyson Alexander. Coming in third with 11 under, Ben Taylor. Tied for fourth with 8 under, Alex Duran, Alex Smalley, and Trey Mullinax. Tied for seventh with 7 under, Aaron Ray and Adam Hadwin. Tied for ninth with 6 under, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Rose, Stefan Yeager, Joel Dahman, Keith Mitchell, Gary Woodland, and Joseph Bromlett. Tied for 16th with 5 under, Jason Day, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Rogers, Sam Piercy, Mackenzie Hughes, Ben Griffin. Tied for 22nd with 4 under, C. Thiglia, Aaron Weiss, Davis Lipsky, and Martin Laird. 26th with 3 under, Callum Tarrant. Tied for 27th with 2 under, Austin Cook, Ryan Moore, Russell Knox, Maverick McNeely, Davis Riley, James Hahn, Kyle Westmoreland, and Cole Hammer. Tied for 35th with 1 under, Siwoo Kim, Adam Putnam, Yuan Yachon, and Eric Cole. Tied for 39th at even, Adam Svensson, Harry English, Harry Hall, and Travis Fick. Notables now tied for 47th with 1 over, Will Gordon, Kevin Tway. Tied for 47th with 2 over, Francesco Molinari. 52nd with 3 over, Robbie Shelton. Tied for 53rd with 4 over, Dylan McCarthy, Matthew Neesmith, Nate Watney. Tied for 57th with 5 over, Luke List, Stuart Sink, Taylor Montgomery, Scott Stevens, and Zach Johnson. Tied for 64th with 7 over, Matthias Schwab. 66th with 8 over, Taylor Pendrick. 67th with 11 over, Max McGreevy. Among those got Sebastian Munoz, Tyler Duncan, Michael Gilgic, MJ Dauphin, Brent Grant, Chad Ramey, Danny Lee, Robert Strab, Henrik Norlander, Justin Lauer, Ryan Henley, Taylor Moore, Ryan Palmer, Matt Wallace, Bayo Hostler, Richard Wierenski, Dylan Lingworth, Charlie Hoffman, Kevin Roy, Nate Taylor, Adam Schenk, Dylan Fratelli, Jason Duffner, John Haas, Seb Straka, Doc Redmond, Jason Hadley, Adam Long, Cam Champ, Kramer Hickok, Ben Martin, Peter Malnati, Patrick Knowles, Grayson Higo, Cam Young. A lot of people withdrew. Anders Albertson, Austin Smotherland, Danny Willett, Sam Burns, Hideki Matsuyama, Jim Herman, Evan Van Rooyen, and Brandon Steele. And getting disqualified was Mark Hubbard. All right, now we're going to talk about a little Dancing with the Stars. We forgot to talk about last week's episode on the show. So, it was 90s night last week, as each pair performed one unlearned dance and a dance relay to a song from the 90s. And there was a double elimination. Trevor and Emma did a salsa dance to Barbie Girl by Aqua, got a 34. Shangela and Gleb did a samba to Spice Up Your Life by the Spice Girls, got a 37. Wayne and Whitney got a perfect 40, doing a salsa number to Motown Philly. Daniel and Britt did a jazz to Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode and got a 39. Heidi and Artem did a contemporary to Ironic by Alanis Morissette and got a 35. Gabby and Vale did a samba to Livin' La Vida Loca and got a 40. Vinny and Coco did a tango to What Is Love by Hathaway and got a 29. Charlie and Mark got a perfect 40 doing a tango to Song 2 by Blur. And then the groups, Shangela and Gleb and Daniel and Britt did Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. It was a cha-cha-cha relay. And Shangela and Gleb got 5 points from Len in the relay. Vinny and Coco and Trevor and Emma did a samba relay to My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It by En Vogue. And Trevor and Emma got the 5 points from Carrie Ann. Heidi and Artem and Wayne and Whitney did a samba relay to Shoot by Salt and Peppa. And Wayne and Whitney got the 5 points from Bruno. And Charlie and Mark with Gabby and Val did a salsa relay to Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody by Kid and Play. And Charlie and Mark got the 5 points from Derek. The bottom three was Trevor and Emma, Heidi and Artem, and Vinny and Coco. Votes to save. Derek and Bruno and Carrie Ann all voted to save Trevor and Emma. But Len did not vote, but would have voted to save Trevor and Emma, who were in the bottom three and were safe. Heidi and Artem were eliminated immediately. And Vinny and Coco were eliminated by the judges' votes. So about time Vinny and Coco go. They should have went a month ago. Heidi and Artem had a good run. Them versus Trevor and Emma they're both good pairs. Somebody had to go. And now we're down to the final five. It's the semifinals. So it's going to be random music. So it's down to Wayne and Whitney, Charlie and Mark, Trevor and Emma, Daniel and Brett, Shangela and Gleb, and Gabby and Val. Double elimination again. So I'm going to guess who gets eliminated. I hate to say it, but I think Trevor and Emma go. And Daniel and Britt go. Would not be shocked if it's a couple of the others. I think the favorite right now is Wayne and Whitney. I just think Wayne Brady's amazing with his partner, Whitney. So they would be my pick to win. They're my preseason pick. And I'm going to keep it. All right, news and notes time. A lot of stuff to talk about. Big news coming out of college football. We'll start with this. So, West Virginia University fires athletic director Shane Lyon. There's some speculation on this on game day the other day. And they're having a talk segment about his future and Neil Brown's future as West Virginia head coach. I think Neil Brown is out because the new AD is going to want to hire his own people. But the question now is, will Bob Huggins get the benefit of the doubt? I think he will. I think Bob Huggins is safe. I feel like he's like the poor man's version of what Duke and Carolina had from a stability standpoint with Kay and Roy, even though they have both moved on. It's what Kentucky has with Cal. There's a lot of good examples of this, and Bob is just going to stick at West Virginia for a really long time. So I don't think Bob's in trouble, but Neil Brown certainly is in trouble with the Mountaineers. It's going to be interesting to see who they hire. They're the worst team in the Big 12 this year, and they actually beat Oklahoma on Saturday. Now to NFL football. Speaking of West Virginia, this is actually kind of funny. At the end of the Seahawks-Bucks game in Germany, the fans belted Country Roads, which was really funny because that song just is everywhere. It's not just in Morgantown, it's everywhere, but I just thought that was really funny. Derek Carr was crying at his press conference and says he was pissed off after the loss to the Colts. Cooper Kupp avoided worst case scenario, but his injury didn't look good, didn't sound good, according to The Athletic. Would not be shocked if Odell goes back to the Rams at this point. And obviously it was an ankle injury. We talked about Colt McCoy and John Wolford starting for the Rams and Cards respectively. Emmanuel Ogbah out for the season for the Dolphins with the torn tricep. That's a big loss for the Dolphins defense. Thank God they traded for Von Miller. Zach Ertz likely out for weeks after injuring his ankle. That's a big loss for the Cardinals offense. Minka Fitzpatrick missed yesterday's game against the Saints due to appendix problem. He's gonna get an appendectomy and will miss multiple weeks, which is a big loss for the Steelers. Jerry Jeudy carted off the field with an ankle injury. That's a big loss for Denver. Juju Smith-Schuster was in concussion protocol. He did not return. TJ Watt came back for Pittsburgh. That was good news. Dante Jackson out for the year with a torn Achilles. The NFL Players Association calls for turf changes as J.C. Treader wants the league to ban slit film turf to increase player safety. Texans wide receiver Brandon Cooks got removed of captaincy amid his frustration with not being traded. So, actually, he had a pretty decent day against the Giants yesterday, but that's disrespectful of the Texans to do that. They should have traded him. Odell to sign by the end of the month. The finalists, Cowboys, Bills, Chiefs, Giants, and 49ers. All contenders except the Giants. I think he should go to any of those four teams and not the Giants. I think he'd be a distraction for the Giants. The media's going to be all over them. I think it would ruin the good vibes. Yes, they do need a wide receiver, but not a diva wide receiver. But Saquon wants Odell on the Giants. He says he does not need a sales pitch. He goes, I don't have to tweet at him. Of course, Saquon wants his old buddy back. The Seahawks want Geno Smith back as they are expected to keep its quarterback as its starter into the future with the long-term contract this offseason. I would not do that if I'm the Seahawks. No way. Brian Daboll delivered on his promise for his daughter's birthday that they would win the game. The Giants and Saquon Barkley have not come close to a new deal and will pause after the season. And he says he wants to be a Giant for life. I hope he's a Giant for life. I think he's amazing. UFC 284 will take place on February 11th between Islam Makhachev and Alex Volkanovski, set to fight for the world lightweight. So that is big time. And in UFC 281, Alex Pereira knocks off Israel Adesanya after a fifth-round TKO. So that was a big result in UFC 281. NBA, we talked about Joel Embiid's big game. Kyrie Irving return date uncertain, as Woj reports there is skepticism that Kyrie will return even Tuesday against the Kings, let alone yesterday against the Lakers. So, and obviously he was not back yesterday. Giannis Antetokounmpo says Wemby is a problem. He can block shots like Rudy, but shoot like KD. I comped Wemby to Giannis. To me, he's Giannis. He's a freak. He's a freak, and that's why he's Giannis to me. And I understand the Gobert and KD comps. But to me, he's Giannis, if not more of a defensive, better version of Giannis. Maybe a better version of Giannis, I should say. It's harsh to say that because I love Giannis. But that's just crazy. Cody Martin out 6 weeks as he underwent arthroscopic procedure on left knee. LaMelo Ball came back on Saturday for the Hornets. Cade Cunningham missed the next several games with left shin soreness. That's not great for the Pistons. Syracuse offers Carmelo Anthony, his son, Kion Anthony, a scholarship, which is crazy to think about. There are teams calling the Knicks about Emmanuel Quickley for trade. I don't think they'll deal him as the key piece. I think they're going to use him in a trade. The Miami Heat are renaming their arena as they're ending their relationship with FTX after the company filed for bankruptcy on Friday. For bankruptcy, so the Miami Heat will have a new arena name. Brutal news for the Blue Jackets. Zach Werenski out for the season with a torn labrum and separated shoulder. Brutal news for Columbus. Devils fans chant "Sorry, Lindy" after calling for his firing a month ago. World Cup of Hockey postponed as they announced the tournament originally planned for February of 2024 will now be held in 2025. That's crazy. Some baseball stuff. Astros part ways with general manager James Click after he rejected the team's one-year contract, so they'll have a new GM next year. And they fire assistant GM Scott Powers. What the heck? Come on. Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers agreed to a one-year deal, $20 million. I said it. I knew he was going back to the Dodgers. I would have been stunned if he left. Baker Mayfield to start Week 11 against the Ravens. That's just news coming in right now as P.J. Walker has a high ankle sprain. Oof. The Mets will pay Diaz until 2042 as this is Bobby Bonilla 2.0 as the closer will get part of his new $102 million contract in deferred payments. Oof. Astros re-signed reliever Rafael Montero, 3 years, $34.5 million. He was money for them in the postseason, so I don't blame the Astros for bringing him back. Like I said, they're going to bring the band back together. Verlander should be back, and they're going to go for a repeat. The Cubs contacted star shortstops Carlos Correa, Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner, and Dansby Swanson. Ooh, wow. If you go out and sign a shortstop, then you should bring back Contreras and try to go for it in a weaker NC Central. Or NL Central, I should say. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. Gonna be an interesting pick here. You know how I feel about division home favorites in the NFL. in prime time, but I'm going to do it here. The Eagles, I just think, are a team on a mission. I'm going to lay a half unit on the Eagles minus a 10.5 against the Commanders. I just think that Philly's going to be ready to rock, so I'm going to lay the 10.5 with the Eagles at home against the Commanders. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking ahead to everything tomorrow. They're announcing managers of the year tomorrow in baseball, so I'll do my picks for that. And then obviously we're going to have news and notes, best bet, and obviously Dancing with the Stars too to recap. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.